Welcome, everyone, to episode 167 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, recorded on this September 23rd, 2023. I'm your host, Mark, and I am so glad to be back with you after a week off. I had a little problem with kidney stones and still am living with them, but haven't had pain here for a week. But last week was in quite a bit of pain, so thankful you all reached out and said, hey, I had kidney stones before. That really sucks. It does. Don't get it if you can help it. Not anyone's trying to get them. I like to collect things. But I'm not alone. I'm joined by my co-host, your good friend and mine, Mino Spellgood. Mino, how you doing?
Hey, Mark, it's been a hell of a fucking 2 weeks. I know for you as well. Life happens really fast, man. Crazy shit. Hey, you specialize in inheritance disputes. Do you want to mediate mine?
Yes, Yes, I do. Just like all of my favorite biblical characters, people often come to me with inheritance disputes. So yeah, obviously, I can always what's the I'm thinking mediator. Be happy to be a paid mediator in your inheritance dispute. Yeah, it's always messy. I hate having to deal with that.
You hired as like a paid mediator? Because I thought that was like a lawyer job.
No, I do not. I do not do that. I have acted as a mediator in situations.
Right. Because once I heard paid,
yeah,
changed my mind.
Well, you're not a member of my church. Those are church services.
Aren't we all children of God?
You are all. Well, that's arguable, but yes, that's right. So that is why I do help, and I do. I offer my services to the DFFOO community in many ways. Always feel free to reach out to me if you have questions or concerns in areas that I might be able to help with. I'm happy to talk to any of you, and that's not a joke. That's true, and some people can attest to that. That is certainly something I am willing to do. Well, hey, it is Subtember on Twitch. That means there is a discount to sub to our channel if you haven't, or gift a sub if you'd like to support us. You pay less, but we get the same amount, so that's a real good deal for us. If you sub, you get some fancy emotes and an icon in Twitch. You also get access to an exclusive channel in our Discord and an exclusive icon and role in our Discord as well. But if that's not enough, I am going to on air token. You know how precious I think my BT tokens are. Sheba, what's up? Hey man, it's good to see you, Sheba. Shout out to Sheba, who has been at every other stream I've seen this week on DFFOO, and so I'm glad Sheba you hang out with us tonight. So if we get 25 subs, I will token XDeathBT. If we get 50, I will Gem Pity XDeathBT on either the Lion banner or whatever this surprise banner might be. Tree Void, thank you for the gift subs, gifted subs, excuse me. We are at 23. So 2 more subs, and I will definitely be tokening XDeathBT. So we are close to that. If you want me to use my precious gems, which are more precious than BT tokens, then we'll do it. If you want me to blue XDeath, then it's 75. I'm kind of tight on blue armor because I'd rather blue my favorites, and I have a lot of favorites coming in. Thank you, Leafblade Mouse, for another 5 gifted subs. We had a whole bunch of gifted subs before the show as well. Appreciate all of you doing that and helping out. I think if I can go back here, I can see some of those just to shout you all up. Infamous Element, Summon Biscuits, Lifestream, our friend Raw Life, Blartanian and Zoe, Goose, A. Lincoln, C-Sam gifting the subs, Eridan, Raylos, Worry Chad gifting the subs, Yin with some bits, Lifestream with some bits, Stray Bead with the sub, Blartanian, Goose gifting some subs, Tree Void gifting the subs, Leafblade Mouse, Eridan gifting the subs. Wow, very, very awesome. I didn't get Leaf Blades, did I? So Leaf Blade with the 5 gifted subs, and Aridin with the 5 gifted subs. That gives us up. That's 10. So that's 38. We are getting close to, people using my gems. Theologica, our good friend Theologica, gifting the subs as well. So, woo, thank you all. We might start the show sometime today, but if we're going to get the subs, we're going to keep shouting you out because we love all of you and appreciate all of you. And that's the one part we love about this community. And so doing that. Also, hey, just as we're talking, if you haven't followed, if you're watching us, you haven't followed us on Twitch, please do that. If you would like to support us on YouTube, you can follow there. I'm actually doing a road to 2,000 subs on YouTube. We're at 1,900. I have videos. I had videos the last 3 days. I have videos all the way till next Tuesday, I think, scheduled already. I had some time to work on some videos. And so gonna have a video every day, all kinds of different off the wall stuff. So go to our YouTube, Crystal Chronicles, and support us there. And thank you all again. If you were gifted a sub or have a sub, join the Discord, and you'll get that exclusive channel and that icon. And there you go. So. Well, news. We're gonna have some news, but we'll talk about it later.
Where's your restraint? I knew you were gonna break.
So, there was at least one update, and that is an acknowledgement that the encouragement armor is not working well with the Brave Gain. So we knew that. We've been talking about that. The encouragement armor with Brave Gain spheres or Brave Gain effects. The Brave Gain on the encouragement armor has not been working correctly. It should work correctly, and so they did acknowledge it. It has not been fixed as of now. I'm uploading the game, so it might be doing it well. All the costumes were reruns. Might get a new costume tonight. We'll talk about it when it happens. So stay tuned for breaking news when we get to it. So we have missed some things, so we need to go over some things because I know some of you. This is what we, this is how you get your information. So we do need to talk about Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 4. That brought us Barrett with a rework, a level 80, and an LD. Barrett is a ranged attacking support character. I got his full kit. He's garbage. Mino, anything to say about Barrett?
Oh, that was your whole thing?
Yeah, he's terrible.
Really?
He's terrible.
Come on.
No, he's literally.
You pulled all of these characters. You pulled all of these
I
characters.
did. I did.
Hear an in-depth.
Yeah. No, you
personal
don't.
hands-on experience.
No.
Yeah, I do.
No, Barrett is.
I don't have it.
Barrett is really bad. I don't like his support is not up to snuff. His damage is not great. Like he does nothing. Like his auras are okay, but they're not better than anybody else's. His damage is okay. Like he's just he's like just a tier lower than he should be for a physical support character. And he is a physical support character, so he doesn't pair well with mages or anything else. It's just a mess. He's definitely one. And look, I got full spheres on mine. I've been using him. Great in co-op because you just press a button and then everybody else goes and you don't have to do anything. But yeah, really a mess. Now, I mean, if you blew his armor, yeah, you can use him. Hey, Dysobia Bard is derailing the show because it's on brand. Are you pulling for Aphmau? Definitely.
No, he paid the Q&A.
He did.
Right.
We will stop the show for a 2,200 point chocobo points. I will be pulling for Aphmau. Regardless of when Aphmau comes, I am going to pull on Aphmau. Most definitely. Aphmau is great. She's a great support. Unlike Barrett, who's not good. I mean, I don't know what else to say about Barrett besides he is. You want me to go over his awful kit because it's.
I mean, no. I mean, well, I had a
terrible.
lot to say. Actually,
Well,
I had
great.
too much to say. Thanks for making me prepare all that time before the show, and I'll have all these notes and then
No.
not play. But okay, so to summarize what Mark was saying, I guess they wanted him to be a DPS support, but he doesn't do either very well.
Right.
And that's all I had to say about Barrett. But it leads me to the larger discussion of like how they're handling power creep right now. Because power creep is really, really escalating now, right? Like every new banner, we're seeing bigger and bigger numbers. We're about to see BT plus, and then BT plus is going to escalate as well. It's just that with the long ass garbage time in JP coming up, and we know like why err on the side of caution and make a character so underwhelming, right? Like he doesn't do damage well and he doesn't do support well. If they doubled his damage, he'd probably just be usable at this point, and then people would just drop him at BT plus anyways. Like I don't know. This is a
Well,
weird period.
since we just had a great support in Yuna, right? We've had better supports in Queen, Porum potentially, maybe arguably not Rosa, but we know at some point Aphmau is coming, and she's a freaking god level support. So I mean, yeah, it just feels bad. Like at least make him the same power level as the other supports, especially since he's a specialized support. At least make that
Exactly.
So one of his unique things, if there is such a thing as unique things for Barrett, is his party physical attack up, right? Party physical attack up, max brave, brave damage, HP damage. Now, I mean, this is, so we don't generally talk about the stats, but just to give you a sense, party attack up 35%, attack up 85%, max brave 80%, brave damage 30%, HP damage 15%, critical rate 100. Critical rate is meaningless unless it's critical damage up, critical rate up. It doesn't necessarily mean anything to me. But that's also stacking, right? So I mean, the LD is a stacking LD. So to really get full potential, you need to get those stats I just talked about. You need to use his LD 3 times. That's just sad. I mean, but even if if it was the same mechanic,
Yeah.
it should be it should start at 15, or start at 10. Do HP damage up 10%, 20%, 30%. Do brave damage up 15, 30, 45. And or at least do physical attack up 100%. I mean, come on, 35%. They're just garbage. Just garbage. And if you're wanting to compare to a recent support, so Yuna is a good example of a recent support, although her infographics somewhat hard to read. Where's the dark version? Here we go. Yeah, Yuna's
version on some of these infographics.
Yeah, Yuna's doing less brave damage, but more HP damage, and 105% attack up, and brave regen, and brave and HP regen. Barrett doesn't heal, and she's cleansing, and she's doing more damage than Barrett, and she has a BT. And those stats were not with her BT effect. Her BT effect adds a lot more to that. So her BT effect is 20% more damage. HP damage 20% more brave damage, and HP damage up 20%. I mean, it's just, and overflow. And yeah, I get that's a BT effect, so that's not fair to necessarily compare, but just her base stat, using her LD once, gives better stacks than using Barrett's 3 times. That just sucks. It just sucks.
It's just to add on to what you said. I was gonna say the exact same thing. If you're gonna be a specialized buffer and add like physical attack or magical attack up, I feel like you should do it better than anyone else, right? Like no one else's a generic attack up should beat your combined attack and physical attack up. Just speaking out of my ass, would it be so bad to give him like the same attack up as, say, shit, I don't know who's like 100% attack up and then tack on like a 50, 65%
Right.
physical attack up? Like
it wouldn't make him broken, because again,
right, it wouldn't. It just really wouldn't. Supports are as good as who you take, right?
Right.
So like you can't make a super busted support, especially one that doesn't heal.
Right.
Let's be honest. And just like I don't know. Like I said, I want to start this conversation now because we're going to be seeing it a lot moving forward. Is just that there's no excuse to undertune some of these characters, because other characters that are releasing literally right next to them are insanely busted. So like you're just dooming this character, period. And as we've seen, like, and carrying over to JP Garbage Time when we get there too, it's just like, just make him busted. Clearly, they're not afraid to make characters so strong that they trivialize content. But any excuse here, like, there's just no excuse for making characters not perform at the same level at this point.
Well, and here it is from at least from at least a marketing standpoint, and an income generation standpoint from the company, like if we know on the GL side that, all I need to do is I need to, green Barts and get Sid Raines and Aphmau and then pick up a couple characters here and there and I'll be good for the hardest 3 months. And then after that, who cares? I can get anybody. Why not? And then you have banners like this, you have characters like Deuce and characters like Barrett and Seven. I mean, characters that were a little bit underwhelming compared to other characters around them. Yeah, why not make everybody kind of on the equal playing ground so that you have more options to pull for. You're more concerned about possibly missing out. Again, I'm just kind of talking from the marketing standpoint. From the fan standpoint, we want all of our favorites to be good, and obviously Barrett's a fan favorite, and it kind of sucks that he's not really great. So I mean, I think a fan favorite more than a lot of my favorites. I'm going to be, I'll probably be bluing Kistis, and I think Kistis is kind of underwhelming in her LD era. I mean, she still does what she does well, but there are better supports.
She ignores delay immunity.
No. Yeah, no. I mean, she's not garbage, but compared to the other characters, next month's a loaded month. She's definitely one that people can skip and be okay with. She's not as much of a favorite as as Barrett. But as Blartanian is saying, Blartifo on YouTube, he's never been great in DFO. He really hasn't ever had a good time in DFO, which is. There aren't a lot of characters like that. Let's be honest. There are very few characters who are just not ever really great.
Wait till we get to the rest of this show.
Yeah,
the other characters we're covering. Come on.
But yeah, and it's not. I mean, it's you take a kit like Yuna, which was just nothing, right? And they've retuned her and made her. You don't have to do much to bear it. Like, there's nothing wrong with his kit. It's just undertuned. Jay Doda, our fearless mod, just his rework was underwhelming, and it was terribly underwhelming, right? I mean, like 50% splash damage and that like split damage. I think that was it. So all they would have had to do is just up some of the numbers, up his potencies a little bit, and he'd be fine, he'd be a solid support. He doesn't have to do anything else. He doesn't have to heal. He doesn't have to I mean, it would be nice if he did something, but even if he didn't, if he was just a support damage dealer and he did both of those things good, I think a lot more people would be interested in pulling him. So, I don't know. Anything else on Barrett? That was a lot more time than I thought we were going to talk on Barrett.
Oh, I told you. These are meaty discussions. You don't trust. I'm telling you, man. There will always be things to talk about. I can always bring things up to talk about. So no, I mean, like, if you really want to skip a character, let me know. But I prepare a good amount. I think the only last thing I wanted to say is, trying to harp on his good sides. What does he do? I want to say he's the only. Shit, no. I was gonna say the only off-turn range damage. That's probably why they made him for the orb. But then you got Trey for that.
Yeah. Yep.
Shit, I don't know. I guess the only thing I want to say is if you compare it to another concurrent Final Fantasy game right now, FF14's design philosophy is that all characters of the same role can be interchangeable.
Right.
So all melee DPS work out about equal.
Yeah.
All the healers work out about equal. All the tanks work out about equal. That does mean homogenizing some of the design, but what that also means, and one of the reasons people like Final Fantasy 14 so much, is that you can just pick your favorite and run with it and not be at a disadvantage. And I think again, I don't know if that's true because this is a gotcha. Maybe making them not equal really does push up sales.
Yeah, no, and again, we don't know, right? I mean, that's the
right, we don't know.
At the end of the day, I just posted this kind of LDBT era overview, the 16 months of LDBT era and what I spent and everything else, and it's been interesting because some people have also kept track and they've shared in the comments kind of what their pull history over these last months were, and We just don't have that data, right? And even if we
Right.
compiled all of the data for all the polls on our server, we have 1,000 people on our Discord server. Even if we got all of them, that's a very limited sample size of the community. So
Mhm.
I mean, you're still, you're never dealing with the full data that Squex is dealing with. I mean, to be fair though, Squex is not always making the
Right.
best
Yeah, not
decisions.
always correct, right?
Yeah, so I hope they know what they're doing, but I don't always give them the benefit of the doubt. So yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
And I just wanted to say maybe because we've talked to so many people who play this game to play their favorites, maybe making them all pretty similar. Like maybe if it's like every 2 months or so, every unit that releases in that window is about equal, and then you can just pick and choose whichever you like. Maybe people would pull more because I feel like in the current design, it's what you said, right?
yeah,
People look for the top two, three meta and then some people will pull more, but the insane hoarders in our community just won't pull any more at all.
yeah,
So,
right,
yeah, just food for thought, right?
yeah.
That's all I got on Barrett.
Well, let's go to the event that Bear dropped on, and most likely wasn't used on. Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 4. You could use him on here. Again, if we're talking about Tier 4, you've probably already been through Tier 1 through 3. Dimensions End, you have two crucibles, one on the left, one on the right. You have to bring a particular type of color. I think white crystal color on the left and red on the right.
Yes.
Three different characters, or two teams of three characters for each, and then you take three characters from those two to get to the middle, and that is how Transcendence works. If you need more help on that, join our Discord. We can walk you through some of that. So let's start at left.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start at left, which is the Flan Medley. So got a big Flan and a couple little Flans. There's not there are some mechanics. They do a debuff that's called Burn, which is HP poison. You can throw that back on them if you want, or maybe they are immune to. Are they immune to it? I don't
I
think.
think they are.
Oh yeah, he is immune to it. Yeah, you can't do that. Sorry.
Yep.
Um,
Hmm.
they do switch modes from fire mode to water mode. And that gives them different resistances. The big thing about this fight is they have the main Flan, Daddy Flan, has almost a million HP. No, it's not. Sorry, a million HP. He's got well over a million HP. 18 million HP. That's the square root. 18 million HP, which is a lot. The orb is player has to cancel a debuff, so you need to bring a cleanser. And so that means you have to allow yourself to get debuffed. Thankfully, you can do that pretty easily if you leave the ads alone. The ads are mostly harmless if you keep them broken, and they will debuff your characters. It's only limited debuffs. They may throw one at a time. So Una can generally do it. She's pretty ideal for this. But you can bring any of the cleansers to this, I think, and they work just fine. Or even cleansing calls, and they would be just fine as well. Other than that, you need to have some serious damage. I think a lot of people brought some big single target damage to this.
Yeah.
Vaughn, Tifa were popular in this as well. I brought Tifa to this, and is that Rosa? Did I really bring Rosa?
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought Rosa. She is a favorite. I figured I use her. And Una, of course, Una is great for the cleansing, big damage dealer, and then some support and healing. Other than that, it's a fairly straightforward fight. I don't think there's a lot of surprises unless you let them live a long time. Then it becomes an issue. But you just need some big fat damage. Mino, anything on this one?
No, that's it. I bet you 99% of the teams brought Yuna, Tifa, or Vaughn.
Yeah.
And as you said, the key to this really is just enormous single target damage. When I saw people struggle, it's the usual struggle with cleanse orbs.
Yeah.
Just give them turns.
Yep.
A lot of people killed themselves on either trying to deny them as many turns as possible or killing the ads as fast as possible. Leaving the ads up to deal with it makes this fight a lot
Yes.
easier. And seriously, just pump out insane single target damage. If anyone brought anyone other than Vaughn or Tifa is their main DPS, and I'm sure there are. I was just too lazy to look. But I know most people did Tifa or Vaughn for that. Go with it. I don't blame them.
Blartanian said, I brought Yuna and Vaughn. I brought Yuna and Tifa. So J. Dota brought Titus. Yeah, and Core.
Yeah, a lot of people brought Core here. I
Yeah,
forgot.
Core,
A lot of
Core
people did bring Core.
obviously. I'm saving Core for whenever
Yeah, I
he's
know.
coming back.
Yeah,
But
same.
but yeah, Core is good on any of these because Core is great. So whenever you use Core, you'll be good. You're pretty safe on that, but Core is a little overtuned at this point. So the right Crucible is the Ferum Scorpions. Those are the Final Fantasy VII type Scorpion bots. They have 10 million HP each, and the Lufania Orb has to be based on range damage. They are resistant to melee damage, and I don't think any elements. Let me check. No, they are resistant to melee damage, but you need to use ranged damage to tick up the orb. They do also apply, they have the normal thing where they lift up their tails and go into the different concentration modes where they have big defenses and can't be broken through instant break and gain a whole bunch of brave. They do a big attack if you don't break them, so you do need some big fat damage dealing or, you just need big brave damage for that. They also inflict what this corrosion debuff. Yeah, it is a brave and HP resist down debuff. And so what you can do is you can throw that back because they are not resistant to that. So Yuffie, who does range damage on her kit and also can throw it back, really good. Cypher, good option for here because he can delay and also debuff them and do range damage constantly. A lot of people brought Aranea, Trey, good. Setzer's good option here, obviously. Barrett is a good option here. Barrett's actually a really nice option here. I brought Von Yuffie and Setzer. They destroyed it, even though Von's not doing range damage, and Setzer's limited range damage. They were still doing enough ranged brave damage to tick the orb. So, and it is brave damage, not just there's no such thing as ranged HP damage, I guess. Mino, anything from this tier?
No, just that, again, I will guess that 99% of the teams had either Trey, Setzer, or Yuffie.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm building up to something here. Don't worry, guys.
Okay, good.
There's a point to this, but if you want to move on to the final tier.
Yeah. Reckoning is 2 waves, as all Reckonings are. A little bit harder. Quest level 220. Lufania is 200, just so you know. The first is the horses, the Vane horses, not Von Vane horses. Their orb is based on total player buffs. So that's a pretty easy one to get. You can even use Hope Call to get that. But you have to have 12 total buffs, 4 on each member at least. And it doesn't have to be on each, but 12 across the 3. And as long as that goes, the orb is not an issue. The problem with them is they're a pain in the ass because they can act really quick. They can do constant damage. They have huge brave gains. They harden their defenses. If you take 10 consecutive actions, they become very, very difficult to do anything to. So you have to give them actions. Thankfully, you can shut down some of their brave gains with Setzer or Yuffie. You can use Von to blind them. That's what I did. Very effective. I actually think this is actually the harder of the two. And this is just my opinion. This is the harder of the 2 waves. So I used my Setzer Freeze Jokers, and I used a lot of Von Blind on this run. I didn't use my Summon or my Burst on this phase. I just tried to shut them down, and as long as you're able to mitigate that, CSDX says Leon was the MVP. So if you have ways to mitigate their damage, you will be fine. So make sure that you can mitigate their damage there. And make sure that you're healed up. So, because there's a very tight HP requirement in this tier. I think it's only 3,000 HP that you can lose. The second is against 2 Grand Rocks, and they're kind of, what kind of types are they? What does it say? They're sanctuary keeper types. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
kind of rock golem sanctuary keepers. They're I don't even remember what they do. They continue to buff themselves up. They can also delay you. They have a big AoE delay and
Oh,
they have
right.
a single target delay, so that can be really bad. They also have a power which allows them to recover from break and do big fat damage. They delay themselves 3 turns, and so the orb for this, I forgot to say, the orb for this is based on them taking critical damage, which is like the easiest orb in the game. That is like the super easy orb. So just keep them broken and hit them, and they do that. Yeah, so at 59% of their health, they do delay themselves 3 turns and get a big fat Brave Shield, 150,000 K Brave Shield. So you need to break them. If you don't, the orb keeps ticking down, and so that is a big issue if you don't do the critical hits. Obviously, characters like Setzer can ignore that, and so that's why he's really nice here. So they also do heal themselves. So they heal themselves with 3 different types. So the more time you give them, the more options they will have to heal themselves, and their big healing is pretty significant, almost 1,000,000 health. So don't give them too many turns, or dispel them, because you can either dispel that buff or you can give them full debuff so they cannot get the Curaga buff on and allow themselves to heal every turn, because it's really, really bad. Yeah, if you do take 10 consecutive auras, again, they do harden themselves, and you do 1 brave damage, 1 HP damage until you act. So you do have to give them some turns and count out your turns. 10 consecutive turns. So count out your turns. I used, of course, the team everybody used, which is Yuna, Vaughn, and Setzer, and they completely destroyed them. So, Mino?
Okay, so I can guarantee 99% of the teams use some combination of Yuna, Vaughn, Setzer, Yuffie, or Core.
Yeah.
And I think there might have been 1 or 2 more in there. But the reason I bring this up is, do you want to introduce this quote you have on
Oh,
the?
yeah, thank you. Yeah, so our good friend Macnol, Dissidia Database, and you can find guides to all these fights on Dissidia Database, or sorry, Dissidia Info. Wow, not Dissidia DB. DissidiaInfo.com. DissidiaInfo.com. That is our friend Macnol. Our friend Scott Ong helps with that as well, and some other contributors to there as well. Macnol made this comment, which I thought was interesting. He says, this transcendence is supposed to last for 2 months of power creep. It has no time limit. It's literally overtuned for current units, which means it's our choice to try to beat it immediately using what we already have in our toolkit, and if so, we should not be surprised if it feels harder than content meant to be completed within 2 weeks before it goes away. I thought that was very, very interesting. Obviously, as people, Mino and myself, who try to beat content very soon after it launches, especially if the show's coming up, we don't generally sit on Transcendence for 2 months, but it is permanent content, and you do have 2 months before the next tier. So you don't have to use, and often it's the characters who, are most close to the release who are good. So you don't necessarily use the characters that are coming from now till the next Transcendence on the next Transcendence. You usually use the characters closer to the next Transcendence. So I think that does give some validation into, all the characters that are coming out in the next month, they could probably do pretty good here because we're going into a whole new era. So, Mino, what are your thoughts on that?
So wanted to address some stuff in chat as well, but basically what this was a hella restrictive fight.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I am nowhere near as active as I used to be, so I guess if I was really curious, I would have ran the numbers. But the reason why Lena EX and Global raised such a stink, and yes, guys, I'm bringing Lena EX up again, was that we said on launch there were so few viable characters mathematically possible that it just was not fun. And I haven't done the research on this, but it really feels like that. And what's worse is that, of course, these are the ones you use are all the hyped meta units, right?
Right.
But I saw so much elitism in the community because there are a lot of people struggling if they didn't have it. Like the difference was night and day
Oh yeah.
if you did not have UniBT. If
Hmm.
you did not have UniBT, that's it, just the UniBT. The difference in difficulty was night and day. I think people with UniBT could have done that final reckoning in 30 to 40, and then everyone else was really scraping 60, no matter what comp they brought. And what it is like they tuned this one so hard for the top characters, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind that. The problem is that there are just so few characters that can compete with Von, Yuna, and Setzer. I mean, core, I guess, right? But like there's so few options that I saw such a divide in the community. A lot of as the main chord people like to say, tough guys
Yeah.
who meta stomp everything and then say this was easy. You have 8 months foresight. You should have seen this coming and been prepared for it. And, and so there was a wide gap between them and like the more casual players and everything. And these were just really, really fucking tough fights. And the problem is related to the Barrett discussion, they just don't give you enough options on the same level of strength.
No.
Like no one's touching Vaughn and Setzer and Yuna and what they do right now. And then of course, tier 5 is coming next month. There's a very quick turnaround because usually it's 2 months between tiers. This is 1 month between tiers because they want to push those BT plus weapons. And again, it's going to be like, hey, now you need to pull for 3 more units stronger than what you just used. And so usually I wouldn't have a problem with this difficulty if we just had a few more options. So like this, in hindsight, it's just awful that they make Barrett so fucking like I don't know if Barrett can actually carry any. I think he needs to be carried through his own event.
Oh yeah. Like I
I
mean,
don't think he can carry
you can.
anybody.
I don't know. I haven't looked to see if there's any reckoning clears with Barrett, but you probably have to blue his armor to make
Yeah,
him worthwhile, and that's a huge investment.
yeah,
Oh, and then right, who are you pairing him with? You better be pairing him with. Yin was talking in chat here saying, without UniBT, I'm legit unable to hit turns. I hit like 70 plus turns continuously on Reckoning. So I looked at my turn count was 50. So yeah, it's tough. So
Blart's saying difficulty doesn't need to mean restrictive. In this case, they both show up though, and that is the thing. Like, right, if you run the best team, and not everyone's the same skill level, so there are lots of people that ran Mark's team of Yuna, Von, and Setzer, and still barely passed the turn limit,
right.
right? Like, so like even with the most optimized unit, it was really tough, and that's good. The only problem is nobody else is at that level. So there's no wiggle room on a lot of comps.
Right.
I'm sure there's people who who dumped more useless characters in there, which is nice. But for the general player base, this was insanely restrictive fight. Holy crap!
Um, Silo is saying that Black Nero, our friend BC, used Barrett on um, Reckoning. So
Was
and
that with
you,
Una
yeah,
BT?
he's got UniBT. So I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
he's got blue Una, blue Barrett, and I would assume maybe blue Setzer, as well. So
yeah,
yeah, Dysobia Bard saying Von Setzer core. Yep. Uh,
yeah. That's
40,
really close.
40, 47 turns with Von Setzer core. So yeah, geez. With all that off turn damage that or preemptive damage that core is adding to the mix, that's yeah. That's
Yeah.
tight. It's tight. So I guess if you are struggling, if you did miss those characters, the good news is you have a couple months to tackle this, and we're going to get a whole bunch of better characters coming out here, including one tonight potentially. So,
Yeah, I
you'll
mean,
have time to help.
it is. You do get a lot of characters that kind of help with this tier. I think everything that released after pretty much helps. X-Death, Lion, these are all characters that actually really help. But I guess the final takeaway message I wanted to say is don't feel bad if you're struggling on this tier. It was truly a more difficult fight than we've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's keep going because we have several other events to talk about today. And so let's head to the X-Death cycle. We started with a raid event, and then we also have had Zonde's Lost Chapter, which have brought us several characters. So let's talk about all those characters, and then we can go over the fights briefly. But yeah, let's talk about the characters. First, X-Death. X-Death got his BT. And it's awesome. It gives him a 3-turn effect that does HP poison after everyone. Hey, Vintage Virus, thank you with rating with the party for 3. Welcome everybody from Vintage's stream. Everybody check out Vintage there. And yeah, welcome to the show. We are doing the podcast tonight, talking about X-Death. So yeah, X-Death's BT effect, really cool. If you're not familiar with X-Death, he does just damage. He doesn't do any brave hits. He reduces enemy brave on all of his buttons, which is awesome, and he does a lot more now with that. He does big fat damage. His blue armor is exclusively HP damage up. That's awesome. Yeah, his BT effect does poison damage on every ally turn action. So after every ally action, everybody takes HP poison damage, and his debuffs to HP poison damage as well. So there's some really fun things you can do with X-Death Friend BT or X-Death BT, bringing fast characters like Terra, consecutive turn characters, using your AAs, using your calls, and just spamming HP poison. It's hilarious. I love it. I think it's one of the funnier BT effects. It's only 3 turns, so you have to be good on it. But that's pretty much what X-Death got. He's still his mwahahaing kind of self, funny guy, and I know Blartanian's excited about X-Death. Mino, what are your feelings on X-Death with his BT?
I started really positively on X-Death, and now I'm ending kind of negatively because after some hands-on testing. Fuck, man. I know there are a couple of X-Death experts in chat, so please correct me if you think I'm wrong. But last week, I think I had an informal stream with Blart on, and we were discussing X-Death's potential. And then we were talking about Lufania plus reductions right around the corner, and how every single fight uniform will be 90-90 reduction in gain and brave damage received. And Blart said that, is that really that big of a jump? I feel like it's a boogeyman because we're already seeing 70%. And then I said, when we see 70%, we don't see 70% of both. It's usually one or the other. Fights usually favor either brave shaving or brave gain more from what we've seen. And now it's going to be 90-90 both. And reductions are going to be even all the way across the way. Most of the time right now, we don't see brave gains hit as hard. That's why characters like Porum didn't see people didn't appreciate their true value until Lufania Plus, because right now brave gains average at about 50% reduction. So it's usually more lenient in that side. 90-90 is gonna murder X-Death. The brave gain reductions, I think, are gonna murder him. Absolutely. I think his BT effect is his only saving grace, because that's kind of like, that is true damage. It doesn't scale on brave gain.
Right.
It scales
100%.
directly on his stats, which I do think that more of his kit should have been done. I don't know if that would have been overpowered or not, but the fact that the rest of his damage comes from brave gains is gonna hurt a lot. And I want to see if people really do bring X-Death into this next month, because 90% reduction of what he does right now, and what he does right now is great but not fantastic, because with his blue armor there was a lot of discussion. He'll cap his S1 and his LD maybe on blue armor. I think sometimes his EX, but barely. Like, he doesn't have that much. He doesn't hit these insanely high numbers with these dumps, right? Like, and most of these are single dumps. I think the reductions are going to murder him.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I would not encourage anyone to necessarily pick up X-Death unless they really know what they're getting into, because, like you said, unless you're going to blue armor him. I don't think Tara Ryan is saying unless he gets a rework during 90 era. He will get a rework during the 90 era. Everybody does. And a BT plus. I don't think he has either of those in Japan yet. He doesn't have his BT plus or his C90. Someone correct me from the Japanese side of the game if that's incorrect. He'll get another tuning pass, and I'm sure he'll be awesome at that point. But the problem is, right, next month when we start getting BT pluses, are you going to be using XDeath BT? and are you going to be using XDeath BT as a friend when we're going to get green Cloud of Darknesses as a friend? Yeah, I think he can make it through Lufania Plus. But again, it's one of those questions. Are you going to use him? Unless he's like one of those, unless you're Blartanian, are you really going to use him? Yeah.
You do have faith in Blartanian? Do you think he's going to use him? Should we make a bet?
Yeah, I don't necessarily. I don't watch his pull videos, so I don't know what he uses.
I mean, he's a regular challenge runner.
I watch his pull videos. I don't watch his run videos. So yeah, I don't know what he does in that regard to make a bet on it.
Plart says, I've thought about this. The reductions will hurt his on-turn damage bad, but won't affect his HP poison, his attack down, or his BT effect. So, right, there are parts of his kit, and he does bring utility that isn't canceled out by the reductions. But just personally, I really soured on the idea of XDeath because I always thought of him as like a true damage kit.
Right.
But the truth is, it's a Brave Gain kit.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So
if you lean into the Brave Gain memes though, and I mean you want to partner him with the Brave Gain machines, and partner him with Porum and partner him with Y'shtola and the other Brave Gain memes, there's potential there. Assuming you can get the orb and some of the orbs over the next, I think that's one of the other problems is the next couple months there's just really restrictive fights, and
yes.
So. Now, if you can get past the next couple months, you might actually be able to start bringing XDeath again into things, right? I mean, you kind of have this back and forth between the next couple months is really restrictive, and then it's just pretty much a free for all after that for 6 months until whatever the hell is coming next in JP, and we still don't know. So, and now everybody's been crazy. So. I don't know that. Want to take a moment to stop, see a lot of people with us. Welcome. This is the Crystal Chronicles. We're your default podcast. If you haven't given us a follow, please consider giving us a follow. We are doing a September campaign. So we are at 39 subs. If we get to 50, I will token XDeath BT. I will already token. I will token it definitely on air. You will see me use my precious BT tokens. If we get to 50, I will gem XDeath BT banner to pity. So if you want to watch me pity a BT, and I've done it 3 times before, so likely if I'm using gems, we're going to go to 125. You can hang on for that after the main show. What we're doing now is going through some of the events we've missed before we get to, I know, the big news of the day, but it is coming. Hang on with us. Kieran got boards. He does actually become really good. I've enjoyed using Kieran again. I've always liked Kieran. In this game, he's got some iBrave memes and again Brave Gain stuff, but he feels a little smoother to play. Again, not overpowered, but solid sport. Soraya the Ranger, thank you for those gift subs. We're at 44, 6 more, and we'll go there. So he is solid support. He's offering he's offering a lot of damage. He's offering a lot of support. He's doing good stuff. The iBrave memes with Warrior of Light are still awesome. I still love it. He's a great partner there. Again, how long will he endure when you have some other pretty crazy Brave Gain and support characters coming? I don't know. But if you have him and like him, he's also coming back with a BT. So you have a chance to make him really, really useful here in the future. Anything you want to say about Kieran?
I was telling Mark this week before the show. This is my very hot take, guys. I do not feel like any returning LD characters with LD boards, unless they have a new weapon, I
Yep.
really don't feel like they're worth covering.
I don't think
Uh,
they're definitely not worth pulling for unless they are a favorite and you didn't get them before. But if you should not be targeting one of these repeat LD board LDs. If you get them, you might be able to build them depending on your roster needs. If you're trying to build up for things, and every once in a while there's an exception, but to that rule. But for the most part, and even the exceptions. So we're going to talk about characters like Beatrix here in a couple weeks. Beatrix gets a lot with her LD boards and becomes very useful, but compared to the other characters coming out next month, is her power level on tier? I believe it's not.
right.
Yeah.
I want to bring that up because well, yeah, people are bringing up exceptions and everything. Well, first of all, is one, I don't think they need coverage because they're just going to do what they already do, but better.
They're not their kits are not changing.
It's not changing. Whereas like Aphmau, who gets a new weapon, she gets a whole new mechanic.
Right.
Right. That is not like the people with LD boards. They just do what they were intended to do better. So their playstyle doesn't change a lot. Some
100%.
don't. Most don't change at all. And then the second thing is everyone's bringing up Beatrix. As Mark said, I want to wait and see. A lot of people say Beatrix becomes better, but better enough to pull for her if you don't already have her? That's my real question.
Yeah.
And then so Beatrix is the only one in contention.
Yeah.
First of all, that says a lot because we've been getting these LD board returns for a year now in JP. And then this Furion, he comes at garbage time. Do I really want Furion? Like, do I really want to pull for Furion's rework if I don't have him for garbage time, guys? Come on, no. But Beatrix is the only one in contention, and I will stick to this hot take that when they come back, as good as they may be, they're never as exciting or as powerful as new weapons. And they will never, nobody comes back and becomes top of the meta. That's always reserved for the new weapons. So on that note, with Kieran, great auras, better than Yuna's auras, better than Ishtola's auras in less than a week here. We'll see.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. That brings us to Lion. Lion got an LD, and I didn't get it.
We got a question.
Oh, we got it. Okay, hold on. Can you read the question?
Please explain what's the difference between attack spheres and physical attack spheres in the Tonberry site. Thanks a lot. Attack spheres apply to all attack universally. Physical attack and magic attack apply to very specific attacks. In-game icons, if it's ranged attack or melee attack or magical attack, there's a different icon. So you can tell just by looking at your character's kit. Physical attack is melee and ranged. Magic attack is just magic. Does that help, Xroz? Do you want us to clarify? And while we're at it, chat saying like how early is Aphmau? Aphmau's about 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
Or so.
Aphmau was scheduled for a special event during Zidane cycle between Sync or Guys Lost Chapter and Sid Rain's event. So to give you a sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I think there was another question around here about those coming up. Oh, Vaughn. Somebody brought Vaughn up as an example. Fine. You got your one exception.
Yeah, no, Vaughn is a good exception, right?
Fuck you,
right.
CSD.
Yeah. So Lion gets a LD and gives her a new buff and follow-up attack called Bully. Bully allows her to retain the hide versions of her abilities. So the way Lion works is if the enemy is not targeting her, she can sneak attack because she's a thief or a rogue or whatever, a pirate. And so she gets the hide versions regardless. So those are always up. She gets a whole bunch of buffs, and she gets a follow-up attack after attacking. So she does more damage. She's also a Dispeller, and that's it. She's damage dealing Dispeller. I don't have her LD. I guess she's okay. Some girl I think is on here. Been using her even before the LD, so she's effective. I think she's a solid damage dealer, but besides that, I don't think she's bringing anything else. Oh, she does do some debuff. She does pretty significant generic defense down, max brave down, and then turn rate down, which is not often we get the turn rate down. And I did say yes, her EX dispels, so that's very nice.
So do her follow-ups now on her LD.
Oh right, and her follow up does it does remove one buff as well. So yeah, that's very, very cool. Yeah.
Did you mention Brave Plus?
Oh, I did not mention her Brave Plus attack.
Brave Plus, she can insert herself.
Moves her
after,
above, yes. Can move her with the bully overhead or buff. She moves her turn in front of an ally's turn. You can select which turn. So she does have some turn manipulation. So anything, do you have Lion? Anything you want to add from her? Mine is awful, as you can see on screen.
I did not pull Lion.
Yeah.
But I did my extensive research, my due diligence.
Good.
Again, there are a lot of Lion fans, hardcore Lion fans in chat. I know Infamous, some girl. I forgot. There were some other hipsters as well that pulled that weren't too crazy about the character. But she's a great Brave Shaver. That's one thing I can give her. My biggest complaint about Lion, and you're going to see this complaint come up again in the next couple of characters we talk about, is that as fast as she is, her on-turn so her on-turn damage isn't anything to write home about. It's okay. It's pretty average, but only when she uses her EX or her LD is it very, very significant. Her S1 and S2 are not fantastic. She does a lot of brave damage, but she has limitations. With that said, she's so fast, and with her turn manipulation now, she's gonna eat more turns than your average party member, and her overall DPS is lower just because only about half of her kit, less than half of her kit, does what we consider respectable damage nowadays, while the others are not great. People like to bring up her debuffs a lot. I'm not a big fan. Most are generic.
They're generic.
They're generic. Turn rate is special.
Yeah, turn rate's nice, yeah.
The max brave 60% is significant. I think the attack down is very insignificant. I think it was like 20, 25, 30.
Debuff, it's defense down 60 and max brave down 25%.
Oh, okay, sorry. So the defense one is really good.
Yeah,
60%.
defense is good. Max brave is 25, which is not exciting, right?
Right, and Infamous Element, who's I know has been running her, says the turn rate down is honestly probably the only significant one.
Correct, right. Well, defense down 60% is pretty significant, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the other metas are matching her on that, right? Like Porum has a defense down that's just as good.
Zell has a defense down.
Yeah, Zell has a bigger one, I think. Yeah. So the problem is that while LD and EX do really good damage, including the follow-ups, the problem is that overall her DPS is actually low because you're going to be using S1 and S2 more often, and unfortunately her follow-ups are only on her turn. She's not doing off-turn damage, as I remember we had a debate about this, which is very warranted. Off-turn damage and follow-ups are not the same thing. So, it's still just added onto her damage. It's not significant. Much like what I forgot to say about X-Death, it's usually not hitting orbs. So you're hogging a lot of turns and ticking the orb down as well. At least X-Death has the manners to be slow when it comes to that and do off-turn damage. And that's it. I'm gonna have the same complaint about Zell coming up. Spoiler alert! Is that just that you can be fast, but speed is such a detriment at this point of the game when you're not ticking the orb, and Lion is not built to tick the orb. And while she gets like fast turns, they're not all free. I don't know. Like, just if you average out how many turns she takes almost twice as many turns as other people. The average damage is low, very on the subpar side.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about Zonde? He doesn't really get anything besides his boards. He's your dark damage, earth damage dealing mage, T-posing, has to have 2 waves in his own event to make sure that he builds up enough stacks to be useful in in the fight. So, but he didn't change at all, really, or get anything. So, if you
It's
had him,
true.
you probably used him in his Lost Chapter because he does enchant the party. But besides that, that's his gimmick. He just got a little bit better. Certainly wouldn't be pulling for him, which means the new character on that banner was Zell with his LD. Zell was never good. He was always considered one of the worst characters in the game. He is now much better. His LD is very interesting in that it starts a cycle where he presses his LD, and then after 4 turns, he has a little buff over his head with the LD. It unlocks a more powerful LD. So it kind of works very similar to how Zell worked in Final Fantasy VIII, where he builds up to his final heaven attack, his final limit break. So that's kind of cool. All of his skills now, his skill 1 and skill 2, are instant turn rate or high turn rate. One of them fills the skill 1's a free ability and free turn, fills the EX gauge up. The skill 2 now is a free ability, free turn, triggers, and doesn't fill up the punch. But both of them trigger the other one. So if you punch rush, it's going to do booyah. If you booyah, it's going to do punch rush. Booyah is the lightning. Punch rush is the defense. I think they're both defense down. They both give you the booyah gives you the party attack up. They both give you duel, which then unlocks your Burning Rave attack, which is the big AoE attack, usually the better one, and then Meteor Barrage, which is the single target attack, bigger fat damage. So it depends on what you're doing. Big brave gains, big damage. They both have big brave gains. And then, yeah, you can use his LD, his EX, and then it unlocks the big version of his LD, My Final Heaven, which does big fat damage. Basically, Zell, he does provide physical attack up to the party, more so than Barrett. I just noticed that. How shitty is that? How shitty is that? His party attack up, his generic party attack up to the party that he gets from hitting his booyah is more physical attack up than Barrett gives as the physical attack or a bot. Oh wow, how horrible is that? Wow. But he is super fast. You can take a whole bunch of consecutive turns. You can kind of manipulate that as you see fit. So, you can hit skill 1 over and over again, continue to take consecutive turns, go into the LD, continue to take consecutive turns. And so, but you can kind of choose when he goes, when he doesn't go, which is nice, kind of like Terra. I mean, you can manipulate that a little bit. He is doing significant damage. Again, is he doing Tifa damage? Is he doing Vaughn damage? Is he doing that kind of damage? I mean, if you blew him, sure. Yeah, he's doing significant damage. He's doing on par damage, so he's fun to play, I guess would be my thing. He's a lot more fun to play than he was, and you can kind of find he's probably got a little bit of a high skill ceiling to really figure out how to maximize his damage. But again, you could just bring Vaughn and press skill 2 over and over again and do more damage. So that kind of sucks, but it's the reality. So what are you going to say about Zell? I know you're waiting to talk about him.
Well, first let me say a few things about Zonde because there were some people waiting for the Zonde section apparently. Apparently there's a good subset of hipsters out
Really?
there who weren't
Zonde.
playing
Come
who
on.
weren't playing when Zonde was out.
Come on.
And they were very excited about his kit.
Come on.
But it didn't hold up. As somebody who used Zonde a lot when he
Yeah, I
came
used
out,
him
and
too.
I used him an excessive amount when he came out.
Yeah.
I found a way to make his kit work a lot. What I found is in his initial release in JP, a lot of people didn't know how he worked and couldn't read. So a lot of people didn't know the proper ways to use him. And what it was is just like when he's hitting crit and weakness, his multipliers go through the fucking roof. So like you can break with him, but if you're attacking already broken targets, 2 or 3, especially 3, that's where he shines. He usually does cap out. He does not anymore. He didn't get any potency increases or anything. So, um, he got some HP damage up, but he still does what he does. His damage just isn't competitive anymore. It was
Right.
so depressing. And I know some of these new hipsters who were just seeing him for the first time were saying, "Oh well, he's got dark enchant, so if you bring him as an enchanter, he does pretty good damage." No, like, come on, like enchanters at like Ash's level who bring like 100% attack boosts and everything, and healing and other stuff. No, you can't. This is like Barrett levels of support. You can't just bring one aspect of support and do shit damage and then say it's a unit to reserve. So once again, I don't feel like it's worth talking about
Yeah.
these returning LD board characters. Okay, on to Zell.
Yeah.
Zell is very fun. I will lead with that. Zell is such a fun character. I love how they incorporated his LD, and I was a big proponent of, because core exists in GL, that might do wonders for Zell's
Mm.
viability,
Yeah.
because he has the fat defense down, and he's probably using these consecutive turns to deal out more damage than a non-BT Terra at this point. I
Hmm.
think I'm willing to bet that. I
Oh
think
yeah.
I'm willing
Oh
to
yeah.
bet
Yeah.
that.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So, like, as popular as Terra Core
Yeah.
Yang was to get through things, Zell is a very strong replacement for Terra.
Yeah.
That's what I think. The downside, though, is, so I forgot to say this about Lion. Lion has so many turns, but she will burn through buffs.
Mm.
So that's like, I forget. Does Zell refresh
Yeah.
buffs on him?
Yeah. Zell can extend his buffs with a lot of his moves. So I don't think that's as big an issue. But
Right,
his
right, right,
his
right. Yeah.
buffs will, like, so his dual buff, the buff that allows him to unlock the better versions of his skills. The dual buff actually increases his stats quite a bit, and so there were some conversations. People are like, "Oh, you can just burn through burn through without the dual buff, or you can give yourself 6 frame buffs
Yes.
and never
Yes.
get dual, but then you're
Right.
you're really missing out. Like, that's probably
Yes.
fine now, but like a week from now, Zell's going to be hitting peanuts if you don't have that
Yes.
dual buff
Mhm.
on, because
Exactly. Exactly.
that adds a lot to his kit.
Right.
So yeah, so that comes on and falls off, goes on, falls off. The 4 turn buff with his LD that ticks down, but all these other buffs, I think there's not a big management there.
Right, right, right. No, exactly. Thanks for, yeah. So I wanted to bring up the comparison. Right, Lion's a speedster that will eat through buffs like Vayne. I really dislike these kinds of speedsters. I'm
No,
so glad Zell has some buff extension. It really does help.
no,
Um, I'll address that gimmick you brought up. But right, like, the thing with these speedster characters is that, once again, he is not likely to tick any orbs. So that is the limiting factor on, is this good or not?
yeah,
Like, how many orb turns are you gonna risk before you have to tick it up again? Some orbs are very punishing, as we will see in the
yes,
next few months. Those orb requirements are so punishing. Like, we're like, their events are so biased for themselves. Zell's usable here because breaking freezes the orb, right? So that's why you could just go ham and have him take all the turns. That's very rare. We don't see that very often, so it's always a consideration. Everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, he's gonna do well with COD BT Plus, etc." Yeah, like with follow-ups and stuff. I think he's the new Terra if you like consecutive turns. I really truly think he's the new Terra. Whether or not that's always going to be viable moving forward with the orbs is what I really question. Um, and touching on what Mark said, yeah, everyone's saying, oh, if you prevent him from getting the dual buff by loading him with 6 frame debuffs, all of his turns will be free. Sure, but once again, at what at what cost? Like, if he's doing garbage damage for free off-turn damage, considered off-turn because his turns won't take up turn count, why not just bring core?
yeah,
Why go through all that trouble and not just bring a true off-turn damage character? Because he's gonna be, as Mark said, hitting for fucking peanuts if he doesn't have his dual buff up. And I forgot to mention this when you were talking about Reckoning, but I really did want to say it, and I feel like it's relevant in the Zell conversation, is that I really liked that Reckoning's bosses. I know people say this is their most hated feature in Lufania Plus. I really like that they punish you for taking too many consecutive turns. If it was up to me, every fight could have, if you take 10 consecutive turns, we freeze you out.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it
Oh
takes a
yeah.
lot more strategy. Takes so much more
Yeah.
strategy to plan around. First of all, burst damage becomes much more important. I'm not talking about burst weapon, but like
No,
the
right?
traditional RPG burst damage, like doing your damage in bursts. These tempo
Yep.
characters become much more strategic, planning your damage in bursts and then planning your defense when you know they're coming at you. I feel like the strategic depth of the game is much better if every fight throws you out after 10 consecutive. No turning shit is my least favorite thing in the game, Mark.
Yeah.
I really wish that wasn't a thing. I
Well, it's going
honestly
to be
do.
a thing for a couple weeks now, so
Yeah, and with that, that's why we bring it full circle here. That's a problem Zell could run into.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Well, do you want to talk about these two fights briefly? The raid boss was the Azeroths. They're the angel-like things. This was for Exodus raid event. Their orb has to be ticked up by taking HP poison damage. The only way that can happen is through Exodus debuffs. His BT effect does not tick them up, just his 2 debuffs that do HP damage. Or if the player inflicts more than 2 debuffs in one turn, they just get ticked up by 1. So you either have to constantly be debuffing them with every action, or you need to bring X Death. You can bring Friend X Death. That works fine. So that's the first thing you got to overcome. The second thing is they do this counter mechanic where one of them glows. And if you hit it, it does a counter and just wipes your buffs and kills you. And so you have to do single target damage. If you do AoE Brave damage, you will end up dead. There are some ways around that. If they're broken, it's fine. So you can find some ways around that. X Death does not break targets, so that's why you can use X Death. There were some other opportunities to do that. So, and they do also have an attack that can insta kill you too, just randomly. So they're kind of a pain in the butt, but obviously manageable. X Death.
Sorry, Mark. Did you say BT doesn't tick up the orb? Because chat's saying it does.
BT doesn't. What do you mean? Oh, I didn't think the BT did tick up the orb.
Oh, it does. It does.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So the BT effect ticks up. So X Death Friend is great, and you can kind of cheese them a little bit with that. I think there was another. If I look at DissidiaFFOO.com again, if you're interested in any of the characters, TonberryTroupe.com. Beautiful infographics. There are new infographics out for tonight's characters. All the characters we covered tonight. If you want to dig into them, DissidiaInfo.com. If you want to go into any of the boss fights, and they can do that as well. I want to say there was a cheese method for this as well. And the cheat, you need Xdeath BT Friend, Kurasame LD Call, Gabranth, Ignis LD, Setzer. So yeah, these are all damage up calls, and just powerful burst, and then Terra LD. Okay, so basically Terra spam with Xdeath BT active can really cook them. She does single target damage, so she's a good option to do that. So if you do have Terra and an X-Death Friend, you can pretty much take care of that without much of an issue. Mino, anything about this fight you want to cover?
Nah, not
Yeah, it's
really.
kind of
Was there anything notable about this fight? They removed a lot of the cheese strats that the original event had.
Yeah.
Before you could paralyze them and they
Yep.
wouldn't counter, they got rid of that.
Yep.
And then before you could do other things, I don't remember, but
That brings us to the Lost Chapter. Before I know we're all interested in what's coming here, but where's the Lufania? Where's the goal? There's a goal button somewhere, isn't there? Where's the Lufania? Here it is. The X-Death or the Zonde Lost Chapter, 2 waves. Why is there 2 waves in a regular Lufania, you ask? Because you need a full wave for Zonde to get 5 stacks of his stupid penis buff to make him at all usable. And I brought him here just because I love him that much. So the first one is the Ochu and Microchews. They're nothing. You don't worry about them. They're just there so you can build up stacks on the tower, syphilitic tower, right? That's it. That's what it is. He's got to get that checked out. That thing, it's not looking good. And the second wave is the assault dogs. The assault dogs are 2. What kind of types are these? They're the Sam 08G things. The Lufania orb needs to be ticked up by dark damage, or if the boss gets inflicted with break. So obviously they have ways that the ways that they're unable to be broken. So obviously Zonde, real good for the dark damage here. He enchants the entire party. There are other dark damage dealers here that are going to be super useful. Golbez, dark damage. Leon, dark damage. Vivi, dark damage. Vivi just gets his LD board, so a lot more interesting. His follow-up is dark damage. Dark Knight Cecil, obviously it's not an issue at all if you're bringing Zonde. They switch between auras. They switch between kind of modes of the characters. The red aura is Brave Gain and immune to delay. The yellow aura is the Brave Gain shield, the Brave shield, and also gets a ton of HP damage up and Brave damage resistance. They do also then reduce their elemental resistance. And then they, depending on their different thresholds, they kind of trigger one or the other. If you kill one, they berserk.
Isn't the opposite? They take more elemental damage. Am I crazy?
Yeah, you reduce their elemental weakness. Yes, when they're in the yellow aura, I believe, right? Yeah. So yeah, they take more damage from elements.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, you just kill them. They're not that bad. Anything from the fight here?
Shoot, I don't remember. There was some cool interaction between the yellow aura and the flamethrower. I know it came in thresholds, but also there was some other thing to it after they did moves. I think they alternate.
Yeah,
too.
So the flamethrower plus is used if the shield from Fire Dog is not broken. So if you don't break their shield, they'll use the flamethrower plus, removes all the debuffs, kills you basically, right? So yeah. Yep. So don't let that happen. I don't know what else to do on that. So, all right. Do we want to talk about what everybody wants to talk about tonight?
Yeah,
finally?
VV first in the new chapter.
So we got a new chapter event. So the second part of Act 4 chapter, or Act 3 chapter 4. And this brings us VVLD boards. VV also got a rework. We can look in the game announcements here. VV rework. What's he get? His 50% splash damage on fire, yeah. And then on focus, high turn rate, actually does more hits, more brave damage, real nice on that. So just a little bit of a rework, and he gets his LD boards, so he's going to be doing a little bit more damage on his LD boards. That's specifically what he gets on his LD boards. I'm not 100% sure. I guess I could look here in a second to see what he gets on his LD boards, but on the extensions, if I can find it here. Oh, where's his LD? Yeah, so his LD boards, where do we go here? Gives him the stacks of the overhead Memories of the Soul before the attack, which is nice. It's a group hit now, more potency, more brave damage, more overflow. That's pretty much it. It's not super exciting. More brave gains on his follow-up, more potency on his follow-up, more brave damage up on his follow-up, as well with the thing. So if you're not familiar, VV does big fat damage, big fire damage, and he hurts the party every time he attacks, and then he has a follow-up that also hurts the party. So he was a GL first, of course, and GL first LD, and he was really powerful, but kind of hard to use, so a lot of people didn't use him at all, and I assume most people won't be using him now either. I love VV. VV's so great. He's a great character, but yeah, he's a little, I don't know. He's not doing enough damage to make it worth the horrible cost of the damage he's doing to the party. I think that's kind of my overview of VV. He's not doing I don't think. I mean, unless you blew him, maybe he's. I don't think he's competitive with Vaughn or Tifa, or the next level of damage dealers, which we're going to get like next week. Um, that being said, it's Vivi, and if you like Vivi, maybe you can figure it. But you got to pair him with a lot of healing. He can take advantage of people who are do better when they're not high on HP. But if you bring all these summons that you need 100% HP, all of those buffs from your summon boards where you need 100 HP, 100% HP, some characters that you need 100% HP. Every time Vivi does a follow up, he's doing damage to the party. So really kind of crappy thing, but it can summon some of the, it can summon Leviathan, not summon, but it can trigger the Leviathan effect, trigger the Odin effect. I mean, several other things that can do that. So we'll do Vivi and Zell. But Mino, what do you got to say about Vivi? I don't. You're dying to talk about Vivi.
Shit, dude. I don't know, man. Uh, it's such a he's still the only character that hurts your entire
Hurts
party,
the entire
right?
party. Yeah, there are some self harm.
Yes. Yeah, the self-harm's fine.
Dark
That's
Knight.
fine.
They also,
Yeah.
but to be fair, so the self harm characters like Dark Knight Cecil, Renoa, they also heal themselves. Arden, Jack. What are the other self harm characters? All those examples are self harm characters.
And
Galoff.
then
Um,
I know Lude comes up soon.
yeah, but they all heal themselves.
Yes.
And Vivi
Yes.
does not do that, nor does he
Yes.
provide any healing. He literally just drains the life, which, I'm not 100% sure. Like, were they trying to get that like early Garnet fight where you kept doing damage to her? I don't. I'm not really sure the thinking behind why Vivi would do damage to the entire party, because he didn't. Like, the big thing Vivi did was enchant Steiner's sword, right?
Oh, in FF9, Doomsday did hurt
Oh, did
your
Doomsday
party.
hurt the party? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so that's
okay.
true to the game. It's
Well, I've
just
only played it like 3 times. You'd think I would remember that, but
it's true to the game. It's just, is this what we want?
yeah,
Because
no,
like sometimes they do things that are true to the game,
and it's
like,
good.
oh, Terra's Riot Blade does more damage the lower health she is, but is that like actually hold up in modern game design? Probably fucking not. So it's so questionable. It's so funny because I'm thinking like, oh yeah, Vivi would be great for Zonde's fight, but then I remember Zonde's fight, even if you melt that shield, they're still doing an AoE Brave plus HP attack. So like he's not gonna stop the attack from coming. And if anything, I was like, isn't it gonna be dangerous? You use him, you lower your party's health, and then they're gonna get hit again. Like I I'm not a big fan of the mechanic. I think it was very manageable when he time traveled. When he time traveled to Global, he was in a good spot. Now that we're at the correct time that he's released, I don't know how good this is.
Yeah,
Do we really want to go into Lufania Plus hurting ourselves?
yeah, probably not.
Like you
Probably
need to bring
not. No.
you need to bring a big fat dedicated healer to cancel this out,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's just not fucking worth it. Uh I it's I can't think of anything good to say about Vivi. Oh, I can. Everyone likes to bring up that the follow-up is ignores defense. How much that plays out into the future remains to be seen. But he's not even good at what he's supposed to specialize in, which is
Right.
AoE fire damage. Because as shown in JP, when JP reached the spot, the more popular thing was to do an Ignis call and bring like a real AoE damage dealer. Like so right. So Vivi is cursed, I think.
He does have cursed arts as well, remember?
Yeah. Vivi is cursed by being one of the earliest characters and being a character they have designated to be simple by design. I remember this because this was talked about in the Ope Ope when they introduced Kane's LD, and I was pretty upset because what they said about Kane was that Kane is a character that they consciously always make to be extremely user friendly and very simple. which makes me very sad because they
Yeah.
say they don't want to give Kane any crazy advanced mechanics. He's always meant to be you press a button, he'll do damage, that's it.
Yeah, that's his
And
gimmick.
and Vivi is pretty much the same. I don't think he's gonna get any crazy, crazy cool mechanics. Even Warrior of Light is pretty simple in execution, right? The starter characters like Tifa and stuff.
Yeah.
Like these are characters I think they really pick out to be like, hey, these are your beginner characters that you can't really fuck up and will always be easy to use.
Yeah.
And so I have nothing good to say about Vivi. Maybe the defense ignoring follow-up will see use, but
Yeah.
I'm not personally seeing it.
Well, there was a surprise. So in Japan, this banner would be XDeath BT, Deuce LD, and Vivi LD, and it would have been the first time for Vivi. Since we already got Vivi, we have a GL time traveling LD, Aphmau. Now, Aphmau was going to be next month on the Zidane cycle. That was tied to the Japanese anniversary event. And so in the Japanese version of the game. So Aphmau has jumped to this banner. And thank God, Tonberry Troupe already had Aphmau done. And so the infographic is up and you can check that out. What the hell does Aphmau do? Well, if you're not familiar with Aphmau, she is a big fat party support, does a lot of battery, provides debuff evasion, healing, and summons her little puppets. And those puppets do great things. Again, after the show, we'll wrap up the show here. I will be pulling on this banner. Now, if you want me to go full pity on XDeath, we're going to need 50 subs. We are at, what are we at? We're at 44 subs. So 6 more subs. I will gem pity XDeath BT. If not, I'll just go regular pity and token his BT. But yeah, so we'll wait for those pulls. We'll come at the end of the show. We'll do a different recording for that. And so we will be pulling on this. I will be pulling live on this banner. Now, Aphmau gets an LD. And the LD makes her, as Tonberry Troupe says, a linked support. So just like Core links to a party member, Aphmau now links to a party member, making that party member a lot better than what Core provides. Now, Core provides damage. Aphmau provides a ridiculous amount of support. So we did share the numbers earlier about Barrett. So I already kind of hinted at new supports coming out. So we talked about Barrett's sad, poor numbers as a support or a bot. Let me tell you Aphmau's numbers, what she brings to the party. Attack 110%, max brave 50%, defense up 50%, eye brave 120%, speed up 20%, brave regen 100% of her eye brave and 30% of her max brave, brave damage taken 50% down, HP damage taken 30% down, 100% debuff evasion, brave damage up 40%, HP damage up 10%, unless it's the character with the LD buff, then it's 30%, overflow 20%, unless it's the character with the debuff or the buff, then it's 30%, and the character with the LD buff also has 100% EX gauge up. She just does everything. And she heals. And she batteries. And brave damage up to the party. Excuse me. Yes.
Brave damage is selfish, is
yes,
what I was trying to.
The brave damage is 40% up to her. Yes. Her brave damage up. Correct.
So Tonberry Troupe has a error on the infographic. She does not give party brave damage up. That's just to herself.
But yeah, but ridiculous. And her armor is support, HP, and brave split as well. And yeah, damn. So, wow, she's real good. So there's going to be a lot of people, using her. Avalon's asking, does she give the 100% EX recast like it says on the infographic? I'm not familiar enough with her kit to know that for sure. I think that's the first. I don't recall ever seeing that before on her kit. Are you familiar enough with her in the Japanese version of the game to know if that EX gauge up is part of it? I'm going to look here on Dissidia Compendium is a great resource for us. If I can find Aphmau here, I can't find her.
All right, all right. I can take over
Yeah,
if needed while you do your research. I wasn't sure how much research you were able to get done. Luckily for me, I was doing it throughout the
yeah,
show. Um, okay, so the EX recast is not correct either. What it does is maintain the EX with the swap, so it doesn't increase or decrease it. What it's supposed to say, it's confusing, but basically no change to EX when the turn swap happens.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, guys, take this with a grain of salt. This infographic and a lot of the info was rushed out
Yeah, right.
because nobody called Aphmau, so there are a lot of errors out here. Okay, so brave damage up, selfish. No party, brave damage up. That's the first correction we need to make. The second thing is EX gauge does not increase to her linked partner that swaps. The third is, well, I might as well just give my opinions and then Mark, you can throw it out. So through the research done is luckily she has no, well, for better or for worse, there's no rework. It's just the LD.
Yep.
This presents a problem in a few ways. First of all, as Mark said, very correct. The support levels are pretty fucking amazing, right? And then the very, very big deal is that she can pick someone and give them more turns.
Yeah.
What this could mean is you can pick an orb checker and really trivialize the orb, which I know a lot of people have, or you can pick your meta DPS and really give them everything on free turns. Here's the thing though. Here's the thing is what I'm being told through this research is her personal damage is dog shit dookie.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, it's not great.
So what you're doing is when you bring Aphmau, you are specifically pairing her with a meta DPS to cancel out what she is doing. That's one. The second thing is that there are very limited amount of people, meta DPS, that you want to bring Aphmau and them. The very famous one is Aphmau and Reigns.
Yeah.
Reigns does such ridiculous damage that you want to give him as many turns as possible. So Aphmau Reigns is a very like meta tough guy comp that people are gonna say. This is like the new Lightning Tidus Echo
It
of
is.
the
Yeah.
Lufania Plus era is Aphmau, Reigns, and Bartz.
Yeah.
You bring Bartz for the fat auras.
ABC.
You bring and you bring Aphmau, and then you just enable Reigns. This is one of the few comps that Aphmau is very famous for. It's very important to get the accurate information out there. There are not that many characters that you want to just pump all your turns into. All right? Like most of the times it is better to build a solid 3. What you're really doing when you bring Aphmau is enabling someone to take like double amount of turns.
Yeah.
So it's a question of, in my party of 3, do I have one person that outperforms everyone else so much that I want to give them the double of the amount of turns? Or can I just bring 3 solid people who are all carrying their weight? So unless you're running Aphmau, Reigns, Bartz, this has limited effects. Really want to get that out there. Back to you, Mark, while I check on something else. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think she is a solid support, and like you said, I think the really good point is she is going to be. Wouldn't she be great with Core and whoever he's paired with? Yeah, I think there's going to be Core is that unknown variable, and considering what he does, yeah, if you pair her with, I mean, basically her and Core are sitting back. Well, your main damage dealer is going to town. Your burst character is going to town. I think Starscream shares that. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, she's just a really solid pick.
Yeah, Avalon's saying, and I want to address that too.
Yep.
Aphmau's famous problem is she takes up a lot of party buff slots.
Core doesn't take up any,
right,
though.
that's fine.
I don't know that you're going to have too many problems with that. Yeah, she does have a ton of buff slots.
She does 3 party buffs framed. So a problem. Like I guess Aphmau honestly hasn't been used in a really long time.
Right.
I think her last tuning pass was over a year ago, so people forget her downsides.
Yeah.
And the downsides are that
Yeah. Core gives you
yes,
one. Yeah.
very limited buffing with her in the party. She is gonna eat up slots. She almost fills all of her own slots, I
She
believe.
she
I
does.
think it's
She
like 4 or 5.
has 8, doesn't she? Oh no, she can't give herself the.
Right.
She
I think
can't.
she has 4 or 5,
Yeah,
and
she
then
can't
everyone
give
else gets
herself.
3.
Yeah, she can't give herself the one. So, is Aphmau? I think right now Aphmau and Van is a good pairing. Yes. Because you want Van like Van never at this point in the game, Van isn't running out of turns, right? He's not running out of skills, so you're gonna actually have to press skill 1 if you bring Aphmau because you're gonna be running out of turns. Like right now, yeah. Um, does Von do enough fire damage to get through this orb potentially? I don't know. This is a fire damage orb, so if you bring Iggy Call to support on some other characters not taking any turns. Yeah,
Right.
no, but yeah, I don't because Von can't be enchanted, so
Yeah.
his is it's fire damage in his EX. So if he can do his EX enough, it's his worst button, which you almost never hit. But yeah, I don't remember how tough the orb is. Scott did send me the document about the fight here, so assuming it hasn't changed, and maybe it has changed, but yeah, the orb is starts at 10, goes up 4 when you do fire damage.
Aphmau and
Oh, no,
BB, so
no.
we can eat all your
Deal
HP.
at least 150,000 damage in one turn. Oh, you have to deal brave damage and 150,000 brave damage. So,
Do AoE
yeah,
fire damage full,
yeah.
basically. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think Bond's okay. Titus is probably a good option too if you can enchant him with Aphmau. So you can just bring VV too. I mean, whatever. Uh, unfortunately, you can't enchant X Death, so he's not real great on this. But the poison's nice, so you can poison them. But yeah, Iggy's great for this. Aphmau and Golbez. Yeah, good luck, Pikachu. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that run.
I think we actually proved in the past that you can
Enchant
enchant X Death.
X Death.
Yeah.
Well, he
The
would
problem
do.
is it's gravity based.
Yeah,
So
he would do. He would do 150,000 damage. Yeah, it
they
just
have that much brave, yeah,
can
sure.
it be will it be considered enchanted? Yeah, depending on what it do. So
It will. I just don't know how consistent it is. But yeah, we did prove in Furry Tractors confirming, yeah, XF can actually be enchanted. I got some more info following up here. BC is taking a break from his vacation to feed me all this fucking info.
great.
God bless you, BC, but you're on vacation.
Come
You
on,
should be
touching
touching grass
grass.
right now. So BC's saying people are really underestimating the stat and reduction spike in Lufania Plus.
Yeah,
He's saying like Aphmau with Vaughn could probably work right now, probably will not work in
you're
Lufania
right.
Plus.
Yeah.
BC saying outside of unless you're specifically running the meme comp of Aphmau Reigns, Aphmau is not enabling anyone else to that degree. Because people are saying, oh, you can do Aphmau Vayne because he doesn't run out of skills, etc., etc. No, these people are once again eating up insane orb counts, and the re the return on investment is not great. You have to treat Aphmau as a slot that's not doing any damage. So when you're giving, so it's 16 total turns of free extra turns, right? And so the question is, what character can take 16 extra free turns and cancel out a dead slot?
Yeah.
And he's saying it is just Reigns. So he's saying people running Aphmau with anyone other than Reigns in Lufania Plus are going to be very, very disappointed. So that if there's a problem with this, take your torches and pitchforks towards BC's channel next week.
I think core is the unknown factor that we're going to have to see if there are some teams that Aphmau and core can enable that are going to be a little bit better. That being said, for even just Aphmau and Reigns, there's some pretty crappy fights coming in the next couple months, and Aphmau and Reigns are going to make them a lot easier. So be prepared, because once we get through the next couple months, smooth sailing, we can be creative, fun, great. The game's going to be dead for 6 months. and you don't have to pull or do anything. It's great, but yeah, it's going to be tough. Without Sid Reigns, it's going to be real tough. Sid Reigns does everything. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Other than that,
I've always liked Aphmau. I think she's a fun
yeah, me
support
too.
character.
I think the gimmick is
You
very
know,
unique, which is why I always plan to pull. Like I said, if you really need like an orb checker, her support stats are solid. She has the debuff immunity. Not that that means anything
yeah.
anymore these days, according to the community. Uh, and a couple of other things. But anything else on Aphmau before we move on, Mark?
No. I think I don't think we'll wait next week to cover the fight. To make sure it is that. So check DissidiaFFOO.com. We'll talk about the chapter. Maybe, of course, we have the Squex community stream on Monday. So there will be a lot to talk about moving into BT Plus era. I don't know how much else you want to talk about before we move. I want to stop the podcast before we move into polls. So, yeah, what else do you want to talk about today on the podcast? Again, all of those watching right now, welcome. This is the Crystal Chronicles. We are your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. This is episode 167. So we'll do the polls off the podcast right now. This is the podcast. If you want me to gem Pity X Death, we need those subs to hit 50 subs. We're almost there, and I will be a gem pulling to Pity on air. So feel free, stick around, do that. But as we end the podcast, Mino, any other things you want to talk about today?
How much time do we actually have? I thought we'd have enough time to talk about this decision of moving Aphmau.
Yeah, no, we have time. We got plenty of time to talk about it. Yeah.
What are we looking at recording wise? Because I know we started
less than 20 minutes.
Okay, all right, okay. So, Mark, what do you think about this move? Because
smart.
here's
smart move. Smart move.
Okay,
you don't
well,
think so?
here's what I think. No, here's what I think. You tell me. Okay, so first is they're canceling out the campaign banner, right?
Yep.
So we're not going to get an extra banner. We're squishing the banners together. That's cool. Usually what that means is they're making room for something else.
That could be. Yeah.
Maybe towards the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
With the holidays coming up. So I think this is I'm not one to super theorize about future banners, but I really do think squashing banners together means making room for future things. It is not inconceivable that we get something else, another GL something this year. That's one.
Yeah, first of all, a shout out to JD Terraforce extending their Tier 1 subscription, and Chaos Blast, thank you for the 2-month sub. Starscream says, why exactly did Ignis get replaced on this banner? The original banner was Deuce.
Wait, was Ignis on this?
No, the original banner was Deuce VV Rydia. Was Rydia.
I don't. Yeah.
Rydia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not
It was Rydia. Iggy was just on a banner not too long ago.
Yeah.
So currently he's still on a banner, right? It's it's on the Lion banner. That's Iggy's on the Lion banner.
That's one. The second thing is people are saying if they didn't change this banner, this would be a zero.
It would be a dead banner.
Value banner because everyone has VV. That's not true. Come on, guys. We have to remember not everyone plays from forever. There's a lot of people like I know Zoe who didn't have VV.
Well, looking at the podcast polls, thank you for Quetzalma and J.A for setting up these. Quetzalma MateriaBot, you can support MateriaBot. Great bot on Discord. On the 6 servers that the original banner, which is the VV Deuce banner, there was 4 tickets, 4 ticket expenditures. Or no, I guess 3 because it's one person was going to gem that, so one person missed VV, 4 tickets and 122 skips.
Okay,
so that's not indicative of the entire community, right? That's just a small snapshot, but it's a pretty damning snapshot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I take it back.
Nobody was pulling on that banner.
So yeah, that was my second point.
Yeah.
It's very smart that because VV was a GL first, this banner was literally gonna not have anything new. It was gonna be a rerun banner. So the second point is moving Aphmau onto this was also a very smart move. Like honestly, if you were gonna squash it into any banner, this would be it, right? But the third thing is I like how they're experimenting with these campaign off banners because honestly, I don't know how I feel about them in general. You know, these banners that come in between events and
Right.
usually have the one character and nothing else, like Aerith and Galuf and stuff. So Aerith and Galuf they ran straight. Then Setzer they ran without a BT. And then Agrius they kept as is because it was tied to an event. This time they moved that event, they combined the event. So apparently Aphmau's event released alongside the story chapter and she got thrown onto this banner. While I think it's smart, we must also remember one, we're getting a post BT plus character.
Yep.
So she should be pretty strong, even just 2 weeks time traveled. But the other thing is she's getting taken off of a better BT cycle.
She is. Yep.
Make no mistake. X Death for Zidane BT plus.
Oh yeah.
Not even
Nope.
not even a fucking
Not
competition.
even competition.
So I want to know your thoughts on this, Mark.
Well,
because
and people have already used their BT tokens or already pitied X Death, the people that were going to chase X Death. No, I mean I think it's a good move because again, the conversation we just had about, Aphmau's great, but she's really great with Sid Reigns. And she's not necessarily one of those characters that's just going to sit and be with everybody. But people are going to pull, she's already so hyped. People are going to pull on her without even hearing that, without even having that conversation, right?
Mark, I forgot, BC brought up a brilliant point. He's saying by moving Aphmau's banner, it's going to expire by the time Reigns comes out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right.
Whereas in the original JP, they released right next to each other.
Yeah.
But by doing this, it's an insidious mind game by saying, by the time Reigns comes, you better have made your fucking decision on whether you're gonna pull Aphmau or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I think business-wise, these are all brilliant moves, I 100% believe that this leans more towards predatory against the players. I 100% believe for players, this is an overall worse deal because it's on a worse BT cycle.
Yep.
You get mind gamed into deciding now whether you want to spend resources on a banner you were very easily going to skip, whether or not you're going to make it in time for Aphmau, and for the 2 or 3 bozos out there that were waiting to pull Tifa on this one.
Yeah, no, Tifa was on that campaign banner. Yep.
And even more questionable now, is Tifa going to be removed from Synergy from Reigns' event? Because she was one of the few characters that could do it if you didn't have Reigns.
Oh,
So
Lord. And yeah,
outside
of Synergy, she's
then
not
she
great.
Gets cut. So,
oh, wow.
So while I think Macnell always says I can't separate the two, this is proof I can. I think business-wise, brilliant move. I think player-wise, completely negative, completely predatory. This is a worse deal for players overall. That is my final fucking stance. What do you think?
Yeah, Starscream saying, so it might be a shot in the dark, but do you think that the devs see some more of the broken team counts from JP creators and plan a court? Yeah, and they're not stupid. And I don't know about the JP side of the community organization, but I know our community managers are tapped into what's going on, what's being hyped, what's not, and so they're not idiots. They know how to manipulate. And I just posted a couple days ago all my polls over the last 16 months. And a lot of people have commented that they're out of resources moving into Lufania Plus. A lot of new players that started within the last year who had these massive hordes and then spent them all and are now kind of on the lower ends. I've been watching some streamers, and a lot of streamers that I've been watching have almost no resources whatsoever. And so, it's, so you're faced with, I don't have any resources, but I got Divine Pandemonium, so I was going to save and get back up enough
Great point.
And now what the hell am I going to do? Am I going to, am I going to pull on Aphmau? If I miss Aphmau, then what am I going to do? Right. And so, I'm going to spend a little bit of money and get a couple extra gems.
Yeah. So smart, Mark. That 100%. I'm glad you caught that. And when I didn't, you're right. Any little 2-week move fucks with the planners so badly. Because you're right. I know people who literally plan banner to banner saying by the time Aphmau gets here, I'll have
100%. This has messed with a lot of people's plans. So
That's really smart. And I think there was one more um detail. A lot of people are saying, like, a lot of people are bringing up great points in chat, saying like people decided to already token,
yep,
like Josepher's being cited for tokening XDeath BT
yep.
because he didn't want to pull on any of these banners.
And
And
he's not missing Aphmau. I don't think.
yeah. And also, right, people are saying putting her on a banner before BT Plus
Yeah,
increases the value
it
significantly. Like
does.
a
Yep.
banner that most people were gonna skip and most people were saving for BT Plus. Now you're faced with a hard decision of one of the most meta characters won't be as meta if you don't pull now, and it'll be gone by the time he's here. So, oof,
Hmm.
what a fucking move, right?
Well, we're going to move to the polls here in a second, but as we finish up the podcast, a reminder. Next Monday, this coming Monday, is the Squex community stream. We're going to talk about LGBT era, and that's when it all begins. If you want to support us, September till the end of the month, subs are on sale, so you can feel free to sub to us on Twitch at the Crystal Chronicles at any time. Please give us a follow on Twitch. We are trying to break 2,000 subs on YouTube. I am creating a video every day from a couple days ago from my Zell BT or Zell poll video all the way till at least next Tuesday. I have videos coming out, and so different kinds of videos, just a lot of fun, different things. So check that out, watch those, share those, like those, and do sub to our YouTube if you haven't. And let's break past 2,000. I think that'd be cool. Maybe we'll do something special if we do, some giveaways or something like that. So for Mino and myself, this has been a great episode. We've covered a lot. It's great to be back after a week off. Thank you for all the well wishes. I'm feeling a lot better. Appreciate a few more because I think I'm still dealing with the kidney stones. But this has been episode 167 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded on September 23rd, 2021. The best of luck to all of you on your Aphmau polls. I hope you get her LD on the free poll or on your free polls. And we'll see you all next week with all your DFFOO news and talk. Goodbye, friends.